Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So as you can tell by the thumbnail, by the title, it looks as though, and I mean it looks as though, not confirmed, but it looks as though our head coach search has come to an end. Now I say that with a little bit of a grain of salt, because how many times have we been here when we thought it's about to happen and then will still happens. but yeah, it does seem all but confirmed. Fab has announced it, Sky Sports have announced it. There was pretty much on the brink of announcing and signing and appointing head coach. I'm going to butcher his name, as are a lot of people at the moment. But I want his name to be pronounced Régis Le Bris. Probably absolutely butchered that. Reggie's a cool name, and Brie is a piece of cheese. But I'd be lying if I said that I knew anything about the bloke until yesterday. I was at work yesterday, that's why I couldn't give you a video, and I only just finished work this morning. So as soon as I could, I got myself in front of the camera to give you this update. I didn't know anything about him, so I did a little bit of research, and at first glance, it doesn't make for good viewing. It doesn't, I'll be totally honest, it doesn't make for great viewing, because he was with Lorient in League 1 last season when they got relegated, but you need to do a little bit, you need to scratch the surface a little bit to sort of understand the circumstances. I mean, I've seen quite a lot of fans of that side, and they don't want him to leave. So apparently, you know, he worked his way up through Lorient, you know, the under-19s, the B team, and then up to the head coach. And his first season coaching them and managing them, he actually finished 10th in what was, you know, in League 1, where I think they had one of the lowest wage budgets in the league for a portion of that season as well. They were competing at the top with only PSG ahead of them. And I think, of course, with the team that they did have at the time, form dipped a little bit and they ended up finishing 10th, but still was seen as a massive overachievement. Now this season, the season just gone, apparently, given the good season prior, a lot of their best players were cherry-picked and bought, and they just didn't replace at all. And of course, losing players mid-season to AFCON as well didn't help the cause. So it was largely seen as a team that was just ravaged by either injuries or, of course, players going and just not replaced. So it was still largely respected, but I can understand that on the surface, it looks terrible that we've just picked up a relegated manager. Although in saying that, look at, you know, Vincent Kompany just got relegated with Burnley. He just wanted the buying job. So you never know. You never know. So in terms of why is it taken so long as well, before I start doing a little bit more of a deep dive, which I'm going to, into this man, I wanted to just kind of get out what has been reported by Sky Sports in terms of why it took so long, this, that and the other. Apparently this man, Régis Le Bris, I'm hoping that's how you pronounce his name, apparently he was on the original 5-man shortlist. Now this shortlist didn't go in any order, according to reports anyway. Again, I don't know whether I'm buying it. I don't know whether the club have just been giving a bit of a brief into certain outlets like Sky Sports to make it look like we always wanted him type thing. For all we know, he could have been 15th down the list. We don't know. But anyway, according to Sky Sports, it was a 5-man list from the bounce, from the get-go. And he was on that 5-man shortlist. The only thing is kept it from happening sooner is, firstly, apparently Will Still was kind of on the brink of signing, and of course he turned it around and never had to start all over again. And it wasn't like we had a 5-man shortlist where we wanted to do 1. If that didn't work out, we wanted 2. If that didn't work out, we wanted 3. It was no sort of general order. It was just a 5-man shortlist we were looking at. So yeah, Will Still took up a lot of our time. Things were nearly signed and done, and then he walked away. So that took a long time. So apparently we got in touch with Reggie. Again, I hope that's how it's pronounced. A good few weeks ago now. But then you've got the work permit and other bits and pieces. But I think we are going to be paying compensation as well to Lorient, because that's what's been reported as well. So if people just say, oh, it's a cheap option, not necessarily. So that does kind of, you know, brush away that argument that we're going for a cheap option. It might be someone we've not heard of. It might be moderately underwhelming, and to that I agree. But I don't think it's going to be as cheap as what people think. So he must be highly sought after. We must really want him. So yeah, so I'm trying to look at the positives anyway, as you can probably tell. And if anything, I'm just happy that this is over. At least it seems to be over. Of course, I don't want just anyone in charge. But now at least, as I keep on repeating in previous videos, at least some people can, you know, if they're going to be pissed off, they can be pissed off for a bit. If people are going to rage back, they can rage for a bit. And then we can also eventually, after a few days, just come together. Right, let's get behind the bloke. If he is going to be in charge anyway, it's still not done. It's not fully officially announced yet. Statement hasn't been announced yet. We can all just come together, support the bloke, and then just hit the season head on. And also, I have seen with reports of this manager, of this head coach, we are starting to open up a little bit in terms of our model. So I believe, according to Fab online on Twitter, he said that he is going to be bringing in his own staff, and apparently we are going to be bringing in several new faces to the coaching team and expanding and changing and amending our coaching staff as well. So whether that means the likes of Proctor and Dodds and that are going, or whether that means that Reggie can bring in his own staff, and that's it. That's what it means. I don't know. There's also, again, some rumours and updates from certain journalists and decent journalists as well, stating that we are loosening the bolts with the model in terms of transfers as well, and we are looking for some experienced heads, which again, that is only a positive. So I'm trying to stay positive. It isn't looking all doom and gloom right now, but I'm going to have a little bit more of a deep dive into Régis Le Bris, and I'm going to give credit here to Ethan Todd on Twitter, or on X if you want to call it that. He does some fantastic threads, be it on potential managers, potential players, and he does some deep dives on tactics, the history of said manager or players. And it's a very, very interesting read. You know, there's some reporters and journalists that I just can't stand, but this lad, he's only a young journalist as well, so go give him a follow. He does some cracking threads on Twitter, but I'll just pick a few bits because it is quite a lengthy one. If you want to read the whole thing, absolutely go follow him on Twitter, give him a follow and have a look through. But essentially what I just want to stick and what I want to take away from some of this tactical analysis, it is the tactical analysis that I want to take away from this thread, because I want to know exactly how we want to play. There's a few clips that are within this thread as well that have been bouncing around Twitter of some of the football that he did play under Lorient as well. It's a lot of sort of triangle passing, counter-attacking on the break, triangle passing when you've always got that cog of a central midfielder that will always be the link-up between the wide men. So of course, when we did have Diallo, Troy Hume and the like, Robertson come over, or whoever it was, we had this brilliant sort of triangle on the right-hand side that would slowly push forward. But this man, it seems like he plays with wing-backs, generally with a 3 at the back. And of course, then you get the wing-backs as well. In defence, it'll go to a 5. Going forward, they join the attack. And then as that's happening, and I've always said this, I love that system. I believe in that system with the 3 at the back with wing-backs, if it's played correctly. Because if you don't know what you're doing, which is what Dodds has done a few times with that system, it's an awful watch. But if you play on the counter-attack with that team and you play it correctly, and it is a well-oiled engine, it is incredibly easy on the eye. It's great football to watch. And as Ethan Todd has mentioned here in his thread, you know, he does like the... It seems like it's basic doing the triangles. It is basics. But, again, when done correctly, it's a fantastic watch. So they usually get a central midfielder that will always be the link-up member between the wide men, while we're progressing using the triangles all the way up the pitch, and that's why the central midfield role is so incredibly important, as are the wing-backs, of course. But then that's his main build-up until the final third, and then, of course, that's where you need, like Ethan mentions here, the direct running, the pace, the technical ability of your front three. That all has to be right. It all has to be in unison. And if you have a look at some of the clips that has been shown here, it's almost reminiscent of that Reading goal with Jacques, which was absolutely incredible, that goal. But it's a lot of footballs similar to that. So that does excite me. They love to ball. Sorry, this is from Ethan's thread here. They love to move the ball around close to their goal with defenders and midfielders, with central midfielder and goalkeeper acting as options when they play out from goal kicks to outnumber opposition's press. So, and then there's actually a quote from Le Bris himself saying, "We work a lot on numerical superiorities at the start of the game and in midfield," which, again, I think a lot of people, there'll be a lot of sort of hearts in mouth moments, but a lot of teams now, particularly coming up to the stage, or just anywhere really, there is a high press, and we've always historically struggled with that. But if you do use your goalkeeper as just another player, if your central midfielder does drop in, particularly if you have a 3 at the back system anyway, and then they drop in, and say you've got a press of 3 players, maybe 4 players, if you always have that numerical advantage, really, if you do have the players to do it, if you can beat that press quickly and with the quick triangles, then you are flying for a counter-attack. Of course, it's risky, but if you have that confidence and you have the players and the ability to do it, and you have the personnel that can achieve that, it can prove to be very successful. We've seen teams do it in recent years, playing out from the back, and doing it in that system. It seems simple, but it works. But anyway, I'm not going to go too deep into that thread from Ethan. But as I say, go and have a look at it. It's a really, really interesting read. But yeah, so that's the kind of football he would like to play as well. So yeah, that is pretty much my cover of Régis Le Bris. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. But also we have signed. We've made a signing. It's the one that I did actually mention in the last video as we were kind of rumoured to have signed him. Simon Moore from Coventry. I think it's a 2-year deal with an option of third. You know, he's 34 years of age. I've already gone through his profile. However, he is just going to be a sort of second string alongside Pato as well. He's been in a lot of good changing rooms, and he is. You can tell just by the statement from the club that he is there to sort of course, give Pato competition, but he's there to nurture him as well, because you can't, when you got such young goalkeepers, generally goalkeepers come into their prime when they're like 30 odd, but of course with the age of Anthony Patterson, and then he's not surrounded by experience, he's surrounded by loads of other young goalkeepers, it isn't ideal. You need someone to be able to give their experience to them, explain what's right and what's wrong, and I think it's just a very, very good sign, and I think that's a very comfortable sign. Our first signing of the summer as well. Yes, it's maybe not the biggest glamour signing, but I think it's absolutely necessary. But yeah, so I'm not keep on going. I won't keep rambling there. But what do you guys think of the sign about Régis Le Bris? I hope that's how you pronounce it. I really like that name. How it's growing on me. It could easily be announced. The announcement of Régis Le Bris could easily be announced at some point today, where I will probably make another video just giving you the statement. But yeah, that was the sort of analysis of him. Like, as I say, I've said about 4 times now, head on to Twitter and check that thread out. You'll find everything you need about him. But if you enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, take care and stay jammy.